In September of 2019, Canon made the brave decision to announce two new cameras which will both go on to sell many units. One was the Canon EOS 90D and one was the Canon EOS M6 Mark II. The M6 Mark II turned out to be a $1,300 compact, powerful, mirrorless camera that Canon was really pushing hard for. Canon released this camera at a point in time when they were still pretty early in the mirrorless world and companies like Sony were dominating the market. But a young 20-year-old working at Best Buy part-time managed to save up $1,300 for it and buy it, and it permanently changed his views on photography forever. I know what you're probably thinking. That young photographer is myself, and you would be true if you thought that. Yeah, and these are pretty much my thoughts on it. I'm not really the type of guy to review cameras or anything like that, but I'm one that believes use the tool that works for you well and that helps you make your visions a reality. And the EOS M6 Mark II definitely did that. From helping me capture photos of my niece every year for her birthday that runs around a lot, to capturing photos of squirrels running up trees at full speed, from locking on to my subject's eyes to make sure I don't miss a shot. This camera did it all, honestly. It did it all with speed, and it did it all with quality. I had a 32 megapixel sensor, which was pretty big for a crop sensor camera. So basically, if I ever wanted to print those photos out, I could blow them up really big, and whenever I wanted to manipulate those photos and files or in editing services like Photoshop or Lightroom, I could manipulate those files as much as I would want. So this camera basically gave me everything that I asked for and more, which is why it's bringing me to the point of why I sold it, why I let it go. So as of October of 2021, I am no longer the owner of the Canon M6 Mark II. The camera that's brought me so much joy over the years and has really gave me a lot of great memories with my family and my friends. And I know you're probably thinking, if you worked hard for this camera and you used it so much and accomplished everything you wanted, why would you get rid of it? And I firmly believe that whenever you get too comfortable with something in life, I feel like that's an issue. You should always seek out more. Of course, you can be content with what you have, but there should always be a deeper level or something else that you're working towards, if that makes sense. A term that I was hearing a lot over the years was the full frame difference. And I didn't really know what it meant. I kept hearing it over and over from fellow photographers I was meeting at my job, photographers that are my friends, people on YouTube, just this full frame difference. And I didn't really understand it until I made the leap and I bought a new camera, which is my Canon EOS R6. Honestly, it might not even be a part of the EOS series, but the Canon R6, which is a full frame mirrorless Canon camera. And it wasn't until I took my first few photos with it in the same scenario with my M6 Mark II that I really saw a drastic difference between the two. And to keep things plain and simple, every camera has a sensor inside of it, even the one inside of your smartphone. So imagine that when you look at the sensor, when you look at the cameras on a phone, imagine that each one of these cameras has a small rectangle in it. The rectangle is your sensor. So essentially, the sensor is what absorbs the light into the camera and turns it into an image. So, as you can imagine, the smaller the sensor on a camera, the harder the camera would have to work to produce a good image or a clean image. Smartphone cameras are very tiny. I'd honestly say the sensors are probably micro-sized. Then you move up to a APS-C. I actually move up to a crop sensor camera, and I may be wrong. I'm not a professional with this. I'm just a photographer, enthusiast photographer. But you move to a bigger sensor, right? Like the sensor that I'm recording this video with in my Sony ZV-1. You have a bigger rectangle. Then you move up to what was in my Canon M6 Mark II. The rectangle is about this big. But then you move up to a full frame camera, which usually is almost one of the largest sensors you get on the market. Full frame sensor is huge. Maybe not that big, but it's pretty big. So in photography, the bigger your sensor is, the more light that's being allowed into the camera. And light plays the most important role in photography, because without light, you'd have a blank image. Who wants to watch a blank image or watch a blank video or take pictures and the image just looks black? I don't think that would be that impressive. Do you? Probably not. But yeah, so made the leap from a crop sensor APS-C size sensor to a full frame sensor, and it's honestly transformed my entire outlook and views of photography. Like, I take my M6 Mark II out during the night, and I take the R6 out at nighttime. It's a night and day difference, you know. Shutter speed still very high, you know. I don't have to keep my hands really steady with the R6, but at nighttime with the M6, shutter speed's very low. So anytime your shutter speed's really low, as soon as you wobble that camera a little bit, your image becomes blurry. Blurry image, it's not worth it. At least in that scenario, or most scenarios that I use the camera in. So, you know, like I said, I made that decision to give the M6 Mark II up to hopefully a greater home, to a photographer that'll get a lot of use out of it, get a lot of mileage out of it, and find a lot of love in it also. I got rid of all of the lenses alongside it, and I've been shipping them out one by one in this last few weeks. And hopefully they find a loving home as well. And this isn't a review. It's like I said, I'm not good at reviews at all. And I'm not a professional photographer by any means. But I wanted to make this video to myself and to any others that are, let's say, currently with a crop sensor camera that they may really enjoy. That if you want to go to that next level, and you want to go up higher and experiment with more in the world of photography, if you ever hear somebody say the full frame difference, now you know what you're mentioning. It's an entirely different world, and it honestly really made me look at photography a lot different. But I want to really shout out that last camera. I feel like Canon made the most powerful crop sensor camera that they'll probably make in a very long time, and I'm very thankful for my time I had with the camera. So that's all I wanted to say today, guys. Not a long video at all. Just wanted to get my final thoughts on this camera. I've recorded this video multiple times because I was reading the script and then it didn't really work out. So now I'm just saying how I truly feel from my heart and off the top of my head. And I'm sorry if it wasn't that clear. I'm sorry if I stumbled over my words a little bit, but this is the real me. And I just wanted to reflect my views on the camera. So in closing, thank you, Canon, for making the M6 Mark II. And can't wait to see what's next in this full frame Canon R6. I'll catch you guys later. Have a great one. Deuces.